Hey, Cock, welcome back. We're going to review this Championship's weekend's game, starting with Watford and Bristol City on Friday night. Straight off bat, does anybody care? Really? Good finish from Scott Twine. We'll get to you, don't worry. I thought Watford had marginally win, and I think the stats sort of backed that if anybody were going to win this game, it did look like a Watford job. But to be fair, Keeper made some good saves near end. Mehmeti had a decent shot. I don't think you can complain really with a draw. Two half decent sides these. I know Bristol City have been in and around it so far, but they've started sliding a little bit with 2 losses and a draw in the last 3 games. Now, I think I went through this maybe last week and said that the blue symbol recognises that that's man at match. So it gets it more or less every other game anyway. It consistently plays very well. The only one he's not done that cracking in is Sheff United away with a loss. But for a midfielder to have 9 goal contributions, a box-to-box midfielder for a 15th place side, Watford are at minute, to have 9 goal contributions in 12 games, average rating there, way too good. Way too good. He's easily one of the best footballers in this division. And he weren't really the case last season from a stats perspective. He's obviously a good footballer and he was last year, but he weren't chipping in with goals as much as he is this time. I don't really know what's changed, because he don't even look like he's been given more license to go forward. He's just hitting it from wherever he wants, really, making late runs into box a bit more often, I guess you could say. And he's just getting rewards for it. What a footballer. But a decent point, honestly, for both sides. It's not bad, that for either. God, I knew I'd straight away Blackburn. Sorry, boys. Blackburn 1, Derby 2. Car 9 at it again. Nice little finish. Really good. To be fair, really good cross from Ward, that is. Aggie, just an absolute monster of a man. You expect to score some headers with these type of forwards up front anyway. And that is just... That's a proper striker's finish. I love them. Just an header at back stick, just running onto it, loads of power, bang on. I do think highlights showed quite a tight game, and stats sort of back that up as well. Bit of a moments one, but Derby have got it and Blackburn haven't they? I did think it was a penalty, just for anybody in case it were up for debate. Yeah, not a lot to say really. Blackburn were in really good form against sides much better than Derby had said, personnel-wise, that is obviously not at minute with how good Derby's form is. But they beat these 3 and then lose to Derby, just absolute textbook. But to be fair, you are coming up against a super team at minute. 5 wins in a row for Derby. First time it's happened in 5 years, I think it said on highlight show last night. Not absolutely glaring fantastic at anything, really. I think that's fair to say with Derby. There's no clear standout in a certain area like there is with Stoke, for example, defensively. I think they're just incredible at that, even though they're very good going forward as well, but you get my point. Derby don't really excel in anything, but are just constantly chipping away at a minute, and 5 wins in a row, which takes them up to 10th right now. Just bang on that. That is really good, because it wasn't too long ago, like probably at the start of October, that everybody were looking at Derby. Even Derby fans are looking at this and thinking, we in a bit of bother here. Quite a strong league. Like I said, you've got Sheff United and Norwich and these type of teams at bottom. Are we in bother here? Like, bit squeaky ass. 5 wins in a row. We're going up. Oh my God. We're only 2 points off playoffs. It's an hard fixture anyway. And what you used to say is, plus the added fact that he come from Blackburn anyway. So it always had that little bit of something about it. But fantastic win that is for Derby. Because again, putting it back on other foot now, you're going up against a side that's won 3 games in a row against good opposition there. Like, I know they're not playing that well, but club size and Bristol City last season. Southampton, Leicester and Bristol City. To beat all them 3, you're obviously going to have a good game here. And it looked quite a toughie, start to finish, but Derby have got it up at line. It's a really big 3 points that. Ooh! Versus Pompey, baby. Oh, I mean, good finish from this Devlin. Both of them were decent finishes, to be fair. That's a nice little glancing header that I liked, that one. Where is he? Joe Gelhardt, just crazy. Like, Leeds' academy's ridiculous anyway. When you're looking at clubs outside of your big sixers, and because obviously they just go and sweep up 15 best young kids in the country every season anyway, don't they? Because there's just no financial hit for them. But teams that don't typically get them nicked, Leeds, Sunderland, Southampton, Sheff United, these academies that are very good and constantly churn out players that can get into first team. Leeds have had a lot of them in recent years. I think he's one that they're going to regret letting go of. He's going to feel like one that got away a little bit, I think, because this guy is a player. Like, I got the odd chance at Leeds as well, but it was never enough. And it's in Premier League as a child. He's only 23 still. For all to have got him, oh, he's on loan. I thought they bought him. Oh, you've been done, lads. Sorry. Never mind, I think Leeds have got a gem here then. I thought Hull had bought him this summer. They've got him on loan 2 in a row. I really thought they bought him, and I was going to make a point that I think Leeds shouldn't have done that and they should have loaned him out. Well, obviously that just completely shoved my point back up my own ass. Yeah, never mind then. I think Joe Gelhardt's a really good player, and at 23, to be scoring the goals that he is, the experience that he's got now, because he's been about forever, I think Leeds have got a proper player on their hands here when they come down next season, obviously. That is obviously unless Hull go up, because they are in 5th at minute. Another side that I thought would be in trouble, I thought they'd get relegated before it started. Obviously, ownership issues. We don't need to go into everything I've got wrong because we'll be sat here all week. I am genuinely turning into a Hull fan. I really like these. In terms of how they play, I think Hull are one of my favourite teams so far this season. They create so much going forward. And you know what? They're not even that arsed about defensive side of things. It's like, we'll deal with that when it comes. Everybody get up now. I just love it. It's so gung-ho. It's something that you'd expect from maybe an Ipswich or a Southampton or a Leicester or a Coventry or Sheff United. Teams that had big expectations pre-season. Not somebody like Hull who almost have got the what we got to lose aspect. But that's just carried on because they keep winning and it keeps them doing well. And this is where at McBurney, who's probably the best player. Mate, these are balling. They're a great team. I know it's only Portsmouth here, so no disrespect to them, but Portsmouth have been wanked for ages. And Devlin scored twice. Like Bishop, Chaplin, Murphy, none of them are really pulling any shoes up scoring-wise. I think Murphy's playing well, but they're just not scoring enough goals, a lot of the forwards. But Hull, nah. Mate, these are a great team. I'm really, really enjoying whenever I get to watch highlights of Hull. I'm loving it. Great team. I am really, really rooting for Hull. If these boys don't do it, I'm wanting Hull to go up me. Portsmouth will come and look at you in a bit because I'm getting worried. But I think that's an end of video job, that one. Look at Pompey. Millwall and Preston. My God, what a wank game. What a crack of shit this was. Smith, to be fair, I forgot who it was. I think it was Negley now, who played him straight through on goal for some reason. But Smith is not the fastest fella ever, is he? Obviously, I guess he's there because it's the same place as me. I know you can't tell because I've not had a shower yet, so my head looks like I've just rolled out of bed, which I have. But for Negley to have played a fantastic through ball for him, Smith, not the quickest, like I just said before I went on this tangent. But for him to have, like, I don't know how he's managed to get that there because the ball is running away from you and to be at full stretch and still dink it over him, that were a great finish. That I was very impressed by Smith for that goal. Really nice finish. And then 20 minutes after, Preston keeper, this Iverson, that's so unlucky, man. It's just one of them ones. It's like, well, Schmeichel, Peter Schmeichel, in case you didn't know, absolutely airballed it onto Barnsley in FA Cup in like 98 or something, and we went through and got replay and won in FA Cup quarters, I think it were. And it's probably the only time that a keeper will do something like that, but they've all got one in him, and I think Iverson's unfortunately had his. He's just had a kick and a miss. I think he's hit it with his right foot. Just, you know when you're trying to lump it as far as you can, and you're just winding your leg all the way behind your head, and then your weak foot, your standing foot, just gives it a little nudge forward. So you're an inch out of place, and then you just whoosh, and then Ivanovic has just walked around him and scored tapping. But not a game of loads of quality. A lot of injuries for both teams, to be honest, and I think they'll both just shake hands and move on. They're both in top six. None of them were really expected to be there. I know Millwall are on cusp a lot. But that's a really good point for both sides with the state that they're both in. International break coming up. Injuries all back, you'd hope, or a lot of them are back after it. So full fresh bill of health after that's done, and you think they can crack on then. I think that's a good point for both. Oh man, what an eventful couple of days, eh? Middlesbrough 2, Birmingham 1. Damari Gray scores the equaliser after a Dale Fry early goal, but Aiden Hackney, mate, that is fantastic. I don't know if you've seen the highlights, or if people just watch the highlights anyway, they might just come straight to you. You might do both, whatever your shtick is. If you've seen that Hackney goal, mate, how good is that? Honestly, I feel like I'm on FaceTime right now. Bro, how are you doing? Honestly, a lot of times, if a ball's being blasted from edge of box and you just sort of body it way, you just want to get out of the way, don't you? You don't want to block it, or some players will try and touch it and turn and shoot the sense. But the pace that we're going at, there were no way that Hackney were going to be able to control that ball. So for him to just manoeuvre his body slightly to get a little flick on it and re-divert it away from keeper who's already going to committed, that is a forwards goal, that. And it's a midfielder who scored it. Hackney is a fantastic footballer, this bloke. Stansfield went through and probably should have scored, and the highlights showed that a draw would have probably been a fair result, but Birmingham have had better after all stats. 3 big chances compared to none. Yeah, that don't surprise me, actually, with manner of Middlesbrough's goals. And Birmingham, I agree with that, to be honest. I think a draw would have been fair. Obviously, no Rob Edwards in charge of this game, and I'm going to come with the hottest take ever. I really don't think it's as big a miss as Middlesbrough fans are maybe thinking it's going to be this. Like, obviously, you're going to know this anyway. If you watch my pre-season predictions and everything that I was saying before season started and when Middlesbrough got Rob Edwards in, I am not the biggest fan of him anyway. He's had a very, very fast start with Middlesbrough. Lightning for first 10 games, I guess you could say. But last 5, the goals have definitely dried up. I think they look quite void of ideas in some of the recent games that Rob Edwards obviously took charge of. He didn't take charge of this one. Honestly, what's his name? That Avi Viviash, something like that. We were at Coventry with Mark Robbins. He's come to Middlesbrough with Rob Edwards. A lot of people, Coventry-wise, were saying that he worked like man behind a lot of the success anyway at Coventry, not Mark Robins, or it worked very evenly and it weren't just the Mark Robins show. I think he's a big part of the success that Middlesbrough could have this season as well. If they make right appointment, maybe they just promote him, I don't know. But I think if Middlesbrough make right appointment, they could take advantage of what is a weak league. I'm sat thinking, seriously, and I don't want to just like change my thoughts now and make it so I'm like saying something that's easy to say now that Rob Edwards is going to go to Wolves. But I was starting to think that there'd come a point later in the season where maybe Middlesbrough would tail off a bit and have to think about getting rid anyway. I truly don't think this is that bad for Middlesbrough in long term. I think there are much better managers out there than Rob Edwards, and he's had a very good start for you, yes. But I think the proof isn't put in here. You've not had a manager for this properly. You've had your assistant take charge of it, and you've won against a side that's banging form and scoring 1 million goals a game at Mini Birmingham. I don't think this would have happened if Rob Edwards were in charge for this game. But that being said, I did predict a Birmingham win, and I expected them to win. But that was before Rob Edwards wasn't taking charge. So I made my prediction, so I can prove it to you now. I made my prediction based on the fact that I thought Rob Edwards was going to take charge of this, and I said Birmingham I thought would win. So I don't rate this guy. Seriously, I think Middlesbrough will be alright. Norwich 1, Leicester 2. Liam Manning sacked. Mate, there's been a lot going on. It's been an eventful weekend. Probably a month too late, to be honest, when you look at this form. What the f is going on? Norwich aren't in Premier League here. This is what you expect after they've won league. To just finish dead last, 20th in Prem. You don't expect this when they're 23rd in Championship, where they currently are. Mate, how has he lasted this long, man? I don't think it'll be a thing where it does bite him in the arse. I just truly do think that Norwich will pull away from it, definitely. But how you can take charge of 8 games at home, someone like Norwich in Championship, and lose all 8, he should have been gone probably after this Bristol City one. And they get him another like 4 weeks, and now they are 4 points off of getting out of relegation zone. Obviously not end at world. There's a lot of managers out there that I think Norwich could easily go and sell it to, and I think it's one of them at minute for Norwich. Whoever they bring in, you can sell it like, all you've got to do is win a couple of games. Even if you just finish mid-table, fans will be like, okay, well, it's a write-off anyway right now. You're 16 points off playoffs. It's gone. Just stay up, try and build something for next season, and I think fans will back you. But I think Norwich will get out of it really quickly. As soon as they get a new man in, I think it'll be absolutely fine. They created a fair bit in this game from the stuff that I've seen. Okay, the highlights have told me the complete wrong thing. Highlights made this look like Norwich could have probably won with the chances that they had. Leicester, the Jordan James one, were really, really tidy finish. I enjoyed that one again. Deco over his word, to be fair. Like, good standard. That was a good finish and all. But Cifuentes needed that and all, to be fair, because they've been in really, really shaky form at the minute. But a really good win for Leicester. And needed as well, because they've been crap. Ha! You're afraid to get wet. Southampton 3, Wednesday 1. You know what? I'm going to pretend I've got that one right. Yeah, this don't count because it deflected from 30 yards and it was their only proper chance. That don't count. I've got that one right, guys. 3-0 to Southampton. Decent little finishers, to be fair, from this Jander and Azaz. But that... There's certain players... I love Armstrong because he played for Barnsley and I loved him when he was. But you know the type of finishers that some fellas can do? This is going to sound wild. But you know when you see Ireland and it's like... He just manipulates his foot to do whatever the f it needs to do. He could make it bend backwards, I'm convinced. If it meant that it were going to go in and that was the finish that it required, his foot would do it. It just started doing weird shit to make it go in. And I think Armstrong is the Championship's equivalent of that. But I think he's quite one-footed, Armstrong. Seems like Ireland is. I'm rarely ever seeing Armstrong use his left foot. Rarely. And he just... The finish for that is outstanding. He gets half a second, if that, to get it off. Outside at footer, just like a bit of an outside at footer toe poke immediately takes it so fast to get round outside at keeper. That is a great goal. Oh man, I just love this guy. I absolutely just love him. He's just been scoring goals, and what's he on so far? 137 goals in 400 games. Proper for it. My kind of striker, this guy. I love him. To be fair, Wednesday, once again, are in game a little bit. They actually are. Southampton have obviously sat Will Still and new manager Bounce haven't even arrived yet. It's just been assistant that's been doing it. I don't think you should get your assistant as the manager, to be honest. I think you should go for someone else, in all honesty. But they're doing alright recently, Southampton, since sacking him. They're scoring a lot more goals than they have been doing recently. But yeah, if Southampton get this appointment right, the 7 points off at minute. They'll obviously spend some money in January. It's not over yet. It's not over yet for Southampton. Ooh! Big old game and a big old result. Stoke 0, Coventry 1. My brothers in blue, shake my hand. I think you have done it. I think that's that. I know we're in November, 9th of November, so let's all chill out. But that win is... That is biggest win at season so far for anybody. Edgy game, yeah. I saw Lampard's interview afterwards and he was saying, like, Stoke are a good side, they can play here. I just love how Lampard talks, you know. He does just speak like normal. You know what I mean? It just speaks like, if you saw him down the street, I feel like it just speaks to you like that, like he does in interviews. He don't try and come with some big fancy words or sell you a dream that didn't happen. He just says it exactly how it is. I think, honestly, Lampard is such a good manager. I really, really do rate him highly. Cracking finish that, like, from Mason Clark. I know he went off injured afterwards. He was down for ages. But little sidewinder. Long throw-in. Flick on. Classic. Little sidewinder on a volley. Bang on. It didn't show, off the top of my head, it didn't show loads of big chances either from both sides. It looked like a game of quality, but defences come out on top, I would say, for both teams for the most part. There weren't anything extremely obvious that someone missed from the bits that I can see and remember. It's just such a good win. I don't think Stoke should be too down either, because obviously you've got the manager situation here, so you don't know what's going to happen with Borough. I think they'll be all right now. But other than that, Ipswich is sort of coming up on the horizon a little bit. You've got Birmingham a bit lower down here. But I think Stoke have got a real chance. They're a good side. I know Coventry have still bet you here, but it's one of the narrow wins and one of the better games that anybody has given Coventry so far. And like Matt Robbins said in an interview after the game, Coventry are blowing everybody out of water constantly. I know they obviously lost to Wrexham, and you can just nitpick whatever you want. But the constant rule at minute is that Coventry are best side in the league, considerably, score a lot of goals, and a better side in almost every game. And I think Stoke had a real good go at him here. I think it just shows the level that these are at compared to the rest of the league right now. I do think Coventry are league winners, but Stoke are a good side. And I think they're a top six, so I really do. They're a really good team. But that is such a big win, that, for Cov. Squeaky ass, baby. Swansea 1, Ipswich 4. I mean, Jack Clark is the epitome, let me get him up, of someone that is way too good for Championship, but nowhere near good enough for Premier League. Ridiculous. Does absolutely nothing. Starting to be ridiculous again. It is the equivalent of, like, a current Leeds. And to be honest, it's another one where Ipswich haven't absolutely obliterated the opposition out of the water. I just think they are being very clinical in a couple of the recent games, and that's why they're scoring so many. They're not having loads and loads of chances all the time. I don't think they had loads against QPR and they scored 4. I think they probably had the most. In the last 3 games, I think they probably had the most chances against Watford and weren't clinical enough. And in these 2, they just were, and that's the difference. But 3 wins and a draw in the last 4 games, they're really starting to turn it on a little bit now, Ipswich, and they're starting to fire themselves into these conversations. Well, they should be, to be fair. They are one of the best sides. You expect them to be up there. Swansea, aren't we on a minute? Just over a point a game. This is like bottom 6 standard points, tell it a minute. I think you've got to have some uncomfortable conversations about she and me, because it's just not good enough. And I am genuinely sat here thinking Sheffield United and Norwich will be fine. And I've been saying it for a couple of weeks now, because the form ain't been good. This spans a lot further back than what it's showing here. Swansea's form is not good. They had a good start. They've been crap recently. A couple of teams down here that are really poor. I think Swansea could be dragged into this very quickly. But a really good win for Ipswich. Baggage to Oxford 1. No! I thought I got it bang on. I wrote done it, and I was checking results as they were coming in. And when this went in, I was like, I'm actually just a man. I'm actually just the knower of balls. I am him. I know exactly what's going to happen with every team. And then they lost. Lancashire's been quite gritty recently. I am starting to like him a little bit more. And my problem with Oxford used to be that they don't create enough a lot of the goals from edge of box, and that is still the case, definitely. I think them and Leicester are probably the 2 teams that score the most goals from outside at box compared to how many they score in general. But Lancashire gets quite a lot of chances as well. I don't think anybody else really does. I think it is edge at box or Lancashire. And if he were a little bit more clinical, I do think they'd be flying up a little bit more. And I do think the goals will come for Lancashire. I really do. But they've got to. Otherwise, Oxford are in bother. West Brom are crap. I'm not bothered what this says. West Brom are absolutely crap. And I think even West Brom fans would agree with that. That were unlucky by Greg Lee. That were a proper striker's finish. It's about time that he started getting on score sheet, because it cost a lot of money and he's not been performing yet. But I do think that's down to Mason, really. Nice ball in from Price and a proper header. Obviously, it goes without saying, West Brom will be fine. But I think if they want to have any chance of being in this conversation, they've got to sack Mason. He's not a manager. Oxford, I am really starting to worry for now. And it's another one that I'm going to come and look at end of video, which isn't that far away anyway, because there's only 2 games left to talk about. But Oxford and Portsmouth, I'm going to dissect you at end. Decent win, result-wise, but West Brom are just pants, mate, the crap. Wrexham 1, Charlton 0. Windass penalty off the bench. I think it was Hernandez who handballed it. I have not got a clue what is going through that man's head. I'm convinced it's Hernandez. No one on him at all. Literally no pressure. Just a simple header away. He could have took a touchdown, to be honest. But he were going to do like a classic midfielder or a striker's instinct in defensive box. And just safety first, I'll put it behind for a corner. But for some reason, instead of just heading it, he's gone like this. And I just don't... I have no idea. Some things can't be explained, and that is one of them. Why your hands are up there when there's no one near you? I ain't got a clue, mate. But well taken by Josh. He did well there. Looked like Wrexham were better side, to be fair. I thought there were going to be a lot more goals in this. Which is a bit silly, really, considering Charlton's recent form and that there's not a lot of goals, especially in their own net. Wrexham have been doing okay. They're winning more games now, more recently. But they are close ones, and I'm still not convinced on them. And they should be performing at the level that they are, or even much better, because this team is ridiculous for the standard that they're at. And I still think, even now, they're obviously playing a bit better now, and it's you know what I mean? The results come in a little bit more. But this is an absolute minimum. This is still like a failure, to be honest, with Wrexham. With the money that they've spent on the squad they've got, I think you're looking at here at the very, very, very minimum to start thinking, okay, you've done all right here. You've got to finish top 10 at least. But they're making right tracks towards that now. Unbeaten in 5, not scoring loads and loads of goals, apart from the Coventry one. And the games are always tight anyway. They are either draws or winning by 1 goal. And I think that's the tail of Wrexham's season so far anyway. And why they've only won 5 games, because they could have won a lot more with ones that they've drawn. But Charlton are no mugs at all. I still think these have honestly got a decent chance, you know. Like, with Nathan Jones, they've got a chance. And to be honest, the form's quite good, so I'm just like bashing them for now, just because of my own agenda against Parkinson, who is a good manager, and I've rated him all. Well, I didn't rate him in non-league, but I rated, all League 2 to be fair. I rated the League 1 season because that's where it looked a bit tough level-wise. And they come through it really well. Obviously, they chucked stupid money in January that nobody else could do, apart from biggest spenders ever, Birmingham. But regardless, I think they've managed to step up okay so far with the money that they've spent. I expect a lot more from someone like Wrexham. I think you pick on what is the better players or the better teams because you know you can get more out of them. And that's what I'm doing with Wrexham. I expect a lot more from a team that's as good as it is. And then Sheffield United 0, QPR 0. We don't care, right? We don't care about 0-0s. We might have a Sheffield double, baby. Right, let's have a look at the table. Wednesday going down. Norwich have sacked the manager but lost again, and they'll be out soon. Sheffield United, another draw. No win in 4 games. 3 losses and a draw in the last 4 games. Shit in front of goal. Chris Wilder still nowhere to be seen. I don't know where he is. This saviour that they've got. Immediate playoff team, by the way. What the hell? But Oxford and Portsmouth. Yeah, I'm scared for you. I am. I'm really starting to get scared because you're losing constantly, but you're not actually playing that well either. And that's a really tricky place to be in because some sides were losing a lot of games, but you can see some coming. And then they immediately just sort of, like Derby, for example, they were losing a lot near the start, but they were always really close in the games. And they look good going for a Derby at certain parts with strikers that they've got. So you thought eventually these will click. And I'm not seeing enough with Oxford and Portsmouth at the minute to think that about these two teams. And as much as I don't want to admit it, I do think it's shaping up right now to be Wednesday, Oxford-Portsmouth. And I hope I'm wrong, because I would love to see both of them two stop up and Sheffield United to go down. But I really am worrying for Oxford and Portsmouth at the minute. Something has got to change, and quickly. But moving up the table, baby. Ipswich into 7th now after some decent form in recent games. 3 wins and a draw in the last 4 games. Top 6 of Millwall, Hull, Preston and Stoke. I'm loving all like that. If that ended right now, I'd be happy. But Middlesbrough in 2nd, despite Rob Edwards leaving and going on garden effectively to go to Wolves. Coventry are top of the league, 7 points clear of 3rd, which is the only important thing. A title's a bonus, innit? If you're 7 points in front of 3rd place already, I think it's wraps. I think Coventry are definitely the side to beat. And if you can finish a point behind them, I think you're going up. Boys and girls, it's been an absolute pleasure. Love you all. Kiss, make sure you like, subscribe if you do enjoy it. Thank you very much for watching. And thanks for 40k and all. 40k subs. Woo! Nice one. Right, see you in a bit.
I say I'm a man. Yes, I'm a mucker. I think of me saying as a right good looker. I say up that. Show us bit it.